Thank you for listening to The Freddie O Show, a podcast devoted to you, the listener, your purpose, your mindset, and your marketing efforts, designed to help you go to that next level. Now, here's your host, Freddie O.
I'm excited to have Tim Fitzpatrick on today. Tim, welcome to The Freddie O Show.
Freddie, thanks for having me. Super excited to be here.
Awesome. So let's start off by digging into who Tim Fitzpatrick is, your hobbies, passions, your story.
Sure. I'll give you the Cliff Note version.
Yeah, there we go.
I grew up in Northern California in the Bay Area. It was a wonderful place to grow up. As a kid, I loved mountain biking and skiing and playing soccer, playing golf. I still do most of those things. I don't play soccer all that much anymore, but my family and I now live in Colorado. So obviously I love getting out into the outdoors. So, but entrepreneurial wise, when I graduated from college, I got involved in a wholesale distribution company, became a partner in that company. We grew that business for a little over 10 years. We grew about 60% a year. So it was a wild and fun ride. I learned a ton. And then we sold that business. After that, I transitioned into residential real estate, and that was about the 2010 timeframe. So most people would say that was a horrible time to get into real estate, but I've always been of the mindset that there's opportunity in any market. And so I got involved in residential real estate, and I started knocking on doors for homes that were in foreclosure. And so I started to do a lot of short sale business, working with the banks to get them to approve the sale of the house for less than what the homeowner actually owed on it. And I did that for about 3 years. And I got to a point where I was like, man, I'm not enjoying this. I was dreading getting up every day. And I said, man, I got to do something different. This just doesn't make any sense. Why own a business when you can't stand doing it? So that's when I decided to shift gears. I got involved in marketing and started Rialto Marketing, which is a company that I own and do full time now. We have morphed definitely. When I first got involved in Rialto, we were selling mobile applications. And now we're involved in much more comprehensive marketing services to help service businesses simplify marketing so they can grow with less stress. So
excellent.
That's the Cliff Note version. How was that?
That was great. So I have to ask you, the reason you don't play soccer, why don't you play soccer anymore? If you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm in my mid 40s.
Okay.
It's really more a matter of, when I had, my wife and I have two girls, 10 and 9. And when we had kids, I had far too many hobbies, and I had to make the decision of what I can either have all these hobbies and do none of them, or barely enjoy any of them, or I can pare down my hobbies and enjoy those and spend a lot of time with my family. And so at that point, I just pared my hobbies down, and, now I'm at the point where I've got some knee problems. I could probably still play soccer, but I don't want to push it. I've gotten to the point where I'm like, rather than injure myself, I would rather let my foot off the gas a little bit and still enjoy things.
100%, man. 100%. Yeah. Well, yeah. Cause I was in a basketball league. It was an open gym type basketball league. And I was 45. I'm 47 now. I just turned 47, and I was 45, and I go out there and I signed up, and I find out that they ranked people in the draft as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the other guys. And I was one of the other guys. And there were guys that were playing from Akron U there that were like 6'6", and I think I fouled out like almost every time I was out there because I just couldn't keep up with them. So what do? I grab them, I hit them, and I ended up really hurting somebody here's the thing. They kept on going to the hole, and I jumped up, that's my territory, and he went down, but yeah, they had to clear the court. I was like, I'm so sorry, but we're friends now, the guy hurt. But yeah, I had to stop, because I would be hurting for the whole entire week. So yeah, I completely agree with you, because your body, starts, not saying breaks down, but things start to hurt a little longer. It's different.
Yeah, they do. You don't, not that being in your 40s is old, but your body does not recover quite as quickly as it used to.
No.
And so like in February, just before the pandemic hit, I was skiing, totally random. I was on a blue intermediate run. I was just cruising, and my ski tips crossed and I fell forward down the hill, and my skis didn't come off. And one of my skis got stuck in the snow, and I pulled a ligament and a tendon in my right knee. And so it's not 100% anymore. It's not 100% yet, but it's a heck of a lot better than it was, but it's just taken so long to get it back up. And I'm like,
and when was this?
This was in February of this year.
Yikes.
So I'm back exercising, working out, riding my bike, getting out, doing all that kind of stuff. But it's still, there's some scar tissue in there. I can tell in certain movements, it's not quite as flexible as it used to be. And, like I said, when you're holed up sitting on a couch and you can't do anything, you're like, oh my God, I just want to get back out.
100%. Yeah. And the crazy thing is it was right around 40 when I was like 39, I hit 40 and then boom, stuff started to hurt, more. And then 45, it was like, so I'm trying to prepare for 50, and that's more so trying to consistently stay focused. I do like boxing with my pastor, who was he used to do MMA, and he literally sent me to the hospital one time with a liver punch.
Oh God.
Yeah, but I will never fight him in real life. Forget that. I'd be gone, knocked out quickly. But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of hard work. But yeah, I completely get it. Definitely. So let's actually dive into Rialto Marketing.
Yeah.
So like you guys came into existence, that was in 2000.
It was 2013 timeframe.
2013. Okay. And what kind of services do you offer?
Initially, we only offered mobile applications. We have since expanded because there was a lot of changes in that space. And I got to the point where I was like, man, my business is heavily dependent on the policies of Google and Apple. And so we expanded at that point. Honestly, we're really not actively pursuing mobile app business anymore at this point. And we've really shifted more into being, an outsourced marketing partner for our clients. And so we offer a mix of done for you and then done with you coaching services that span the gamut from, marketing strategy, which I consider the marketing fundamentals, getting those in place, and then getting more tactical with digital marketing. So, website design and content marketing, SEO, social media marketing, email marketing, and then paid advertising. So we can do as little or as much as a client needs.
Yeah. So let's actually, because I'm always intrigued by this. So, email marketing is fantastic. It is. But with the stuff that's coming out now, you have for instance, Community, which is the text marketing, ManyChat. What would you say is your go-to choice for communicating with your clients or new clients?
With new clients, we tend to take an omni-channel approach, right? So not relying on just one marketing channel, which I think is really important, because a lot of the businesses that we talk to, they've hit a roadblock of some point. They've been growing, but they need to scale more and they can't push through this roadblock. And a lot of businesses initially grow with referrals and word of mouth marketing, which is a great way to grow, but it's not very scalable and it can be unpredictable, and so that's a channel you absolutely want to have, but you've got to expand into other channels so that, the way I look at it is if you're a referral business, you're riding a unicycle. And if that tire goes flat, you're hosed. If you have multiple channels, 3, 4, right? You're riding a four-wheeler. If one of those tires goes flat and that channel isn't generating nearly as many leads, you still have 3 other channels bringing in leads. You're going to continue to do business. So, there's much more consistency and predictability when you have multiple marketing channels that are driving leads for your business. From a communication standpoint, I think it really depends on what that particular customer, how they prefer to communicate. Some people prefer to communicate via email. Some prefer to do it via, phone or text or social media, and so I think that email marketing is very low-hanging fruit for a lot of businesses. Most of them are not using it or not using it very well. And email is a great way to nurture people that have expressed interest in your business, nurture prospects, get them indoctrinated in what you do, how you do it, the benefits that they're going to realize when they work with you, and continue to add value to them so that when they are ready to take that next step, they think of you and not somebody else.
And if I may say that because I've never actually got to talk to Tim before. Okay. We set up this podcast, and so he has some cool stuff that you guys are going to get. So I'll hold on that for a second. But I signed up to see what it was. And the cool thing was, I got my email. He said, "Did you watch the masterclass?" I was like, there you go. So he does he practices what he preaches. He does the email. One thing I like doing, Tim, and you can throw your opinion on this, is when I have clients, I tell them I big on, like you said, different channels. So let's say you have a lead magnet of some sort. They opt in for the lead magnet with their email, of course, and then it goes to the whatever you're offering them. But then it has an unannounced bonus, and that can be connected to text, can be connected to ManyChat or a bot in whatever you want. But I think that, are you talking about like that as far as different channels, or are you talking about like each different campaign doing different channels?
No, I'm talking about just overall having multiple channels that you're using to generate leads, right? So email marketing or social media, or content, right? To bring people in inbound. We use those. So like when people opt into any of our lead magnets,
okay,
we're following up with them via email. 100%. We're not using any other channels to communicate with them and fulfill what they requested. But via email, they are then getting exposed to some of the other content that we're producing, which may drive them to some of our other marketing channels. So I tend to try to keep things simple, because there are so many moving parts. There can be so many moving parts with marketing. And I think when you overcomplicate things, it can be really difficult to troubleshoot where things are going wrong, right? If things aren't converting, they're not working as well as they should. If you have like these huge, intricate, multi-step, going from this channel to this channel type funnels, it's impossible to figure out where the hell things are breaking down. Whereas if you just keep it simple, you're going to have multiple steps, but if you try to minimize those steps and just keep it easy and simple, it's much easier to figure out, okay, where are people dropping off? What kind of changes do we need to make? My approach to marketing is very simple and keep things less complicated.
I completely agree with that, because back in 2012, when I went to this mastermind and I was like falling apart when I first started out doing this, I was all over the place. And I went to this private mastermind. Russell Brunson was there. He was filming something called The Invisible Funnel, Dagan Smith. And I was the only broke guy there. Okay. And so I seriously, it was crazy. I was blessed to be able to go to this thing. My friend Bob took me. He's like, "You want to go to a private event?" It was in a small hotel thing. And I met some really great people, Vince Reed. But as I was there, I looked around. I'm like, man, these guys are really making it happen. I go, what am I doing? And I was like, you know what, Fred, you got to keep it simple, stupid. You're all over the place. So focus in on one thing and one thing only. Now, I do like to test different things, and the reason why I say that is because, and it was my fault, but I think I've said this in the past on the Freddie O Show, is I had, I was email marketing like it was like a boss. I had lists, I was getting leads coming in, but I wasn't nurturing. I was just basically what I was taught when I first got into the thing, into the industry, the dark side. And I had 7 AWebers get shut down when I was in the middle at Florida. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So I realized I had to flip the switch, and I'm like, you got to do it right. Do it the right way. And, like for instance, who's your favorite autoresponder?
We use ActiveCampaign.
Yeah. Boom. Love ActiveCampaign. Fantastic.
Yeah. It's got everything you need. It's got great integrations. So you can certainly make it very complicated, but it's just, we like it. And, honestly, there's a bunch of good ones out there. You just have to pick the one that makes the most sense to you and is easy enough for you to use, because then you'll actually use it consistently.
Absolutely. So let's go with what is one of the biggest mistakes you see business owners doing when it comes to their marketing efforts?
The biggest mistake I see is business owners get tactical with their marketing before they have the fundamentals in place, before they focused on their strategy. And when they do that, what they're really doing is throwing spaghetti up against a wall, seeing what sticks. And inevitably, it doesn't stick. They waste time, they waste money, and they're like, oh yeah, I've tried SEO, or I did the social media thing, it didn't work. Well, those channels work. Oftentimes what businesses are doing is they're just using the right tactic or the right channel at the wrong time. They're putting the cart before the horse. Because if you don't understand, to me, the marketing fundamentals, I call them the marketing strategy trilogy. You have to know who your target market is. You have to have really good messaging. It's got to be clear and engaging to that target market. And you have to have a plan that you're going to use. If you do those 3 things, those lay the foundation for you to build the rest of your marketing house. If you skip the fundamentals, you're building a house without a foundation, which we all know may last for a little bit, but it's not going to last long term, and it's not going to work consistently. So that, to me, is the biggest mistake I see people make.
So let's dive a little deeper into those fundamentals. So you said number 1 was
target market. So when you look at your target market, it's who are you going to serve? How are you going to serve those people? You need to know who your ideal clients are. And most businesses have 1 to 3 ideal client types. I think if you focus on any more than that, it's going to get confusing and you're going to drop the ball. Now, just because you're going to focus your marketing efforts on 1 to 3 ideal client types doesn't mean those are the only people that you're going to do business with. Because a lot of people go, gosh, I'm afraid to niche down. Well, man, you will end up doing so much more business when you niche down than if you try to reach everybody. It is so much easier when you know the 1 to 3 types of clients you want to reach, and and understand the problems that they have, the goals that they have, and how you can uniquely solve those. You will end up converting more leads. You will end up attracting more leads because you're attracting the type of people that you do your best work for. And so that's where the target market, you have to know the 1 to 3 ideal client types. The easiest way for an existing business to figure out who those people are is to ask yourself 3 questions. 1 is, who do you enjoy working with? Okay. Why start a business and work with people you can't stand? So figure out who those people are. Then ask yourself, who are our most profitable clients? We need to do business with more people that are profitable. And then the third question is, who do you do your best work for? Who do you get the best results for? The combination of those 3 people, that group is what holds your ideal client types. And when you can look at that group, you can start to dig in and go, what are the demographics of the people in this group? What are the psychographics? The psychographics are really important. What are their thoughts and feelings? What are the challenges that they have, the roadblocks? What are the goals that they have? Where do they want to get? Because it's the psychographics that will really get people to actually buy. But demographically, you want to have a general idea. Are they a certain age? Are they located in a certain place? Whatever that may be, whatever is important. But when you look at that group, inevitably, 1 to 3 subgroups will come out. Those are your ideal client types. Because if you can attract the people that you love working with, that are profitable, that you do great work for, what's going to happen?
You're going to be one happy camper.
Absolutely. You're going to be happy. You're going to be making a bunch of money, and you're going to be getting a ton of referrals because you're working with the people that you get the best results for. If you're getting results for all these people, why are they not going to talk about you? Of course they're going to talk about you. So you've got to start there with your target market.
Okay. Number 2
is your messaging. So, and you can't create messaging until you know who your target market is. You almost have to know your target market better than they know themselves. You know, when you put out a message, they need to be like, oh my God, was Freddie like in the meeting that we had last week? I mean, he is saying like all the right things here. That's where you want to aspire to get to. So when we look at messaging, we use a storytelling framework to create marketing messages. I didn't invent this. The framework that we follow was popularized by a company by the name of StoryBrand. But if any of your listeners are familiar with storytelling, there's a storytelling framework called the Hero's Journey, and the framework from StoryBrand is based on that.
Okay.
The thing that I love about this framework, when it was initially introduced to me, it just made sense. It really resonated with me, and I was like, man, if this resonates with me, I know that it's going to resonate with our clients. And the framework just goes like this. And just think about any movie or book that you may have read, and I think you'll be able to see how you can plug this in. But the framework starts with the character. The character is your customer. Your customer is the main character or the hero in the story. That character has a problem. They meet a guide. Your business is the guide in this case. So you are inviting your customer into a story where you are the guide and they are the hero. You give them a plan that calls them to action so that they avoid failure and they reach success. So if we think about this in terms of a movie, okay, I don't know.
Rambo.
Have you ever seen the original Point Break with Keanu Reeves?
Love that movie.
Okay, so it's one of my favorite movies. I hope people don't fault me for that. But
no, it's a great movie.
Right?
If they don't like it, they're crazy.
You have Keanu Reeves is the character. He's the hero in the story. Problem: the ex-presidents. They're a band of bank robbers. They're robbing banks in Southern California. The guide in the story is Gary Busey, who is his seasoned FBI partner, right? He's been in for years. He's been there, done that, seen everything. He gives Keanu Reeves a plan. He says, man, look, I think that the ex-presidents are surfers. So you need to go to learn how to surf. And you can meet you'll get in with this band of bank robbers, right? So the call to action is you need to learn how to surf so that they avoid failure, which is the ex-presidents get away with all the money and they reach success where they catch them. It's as simple as that. But so what we're doing when you do this is your customer, the character in the story, is not looking for another hero. They're looking for a guide that knows exactly how to solve the problem that they have so that they can get from where they currently are to where they want to be, which is why we position your company as the guide in the story. So when you use this framework, you just start plugging in different messaging elements at each phase in the framework. And then when you need to create messaging, you go back to the framework. You're not reinventing the wheel every time. You're going back to the framework and you pull elements from there. What that enables you to do is create clear messaging that is consistent over time, that's engaging for your target market. And that's exactly what it needs to be. It prevents you from talking too much about yourself, which most businesses do. You go to most websites and they're talking about how great they are. Our customers don't care. They don't care about us. They care about what we can do for them. So our messaging needs to be focused on how we can help them solve the problem that they have and get to where they want to be. And when you use this framework, that's exactly what you do. And we need to, with messaging, so many businesses try to get cute and clever. And when we do that, we confuse people. And when we confuse them, we lose them, right? It's so we have such a short attention spans at this point. If I land on a website and I see that message at the top and I read it and I'm like, I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. Am I going to spend time scrolling down the rest of the page to figure it out?
If you confuse them, you lose them. I love that.
I'm moving on, right? So our messaging needs to be clear, simple, and engaging to our target market. And when you use this storytelling framework, that's exactly what it enables you to do.
So basically you're saying that the hero is Keanu Reeves.
Yep.
Gary Busey is you.
He's the guide.
Yeah. And you got, I think his name was Brody, but it's Patrick Swayze, but Brody.
Yep. He's the villain.
Yeah, and at the very end it was classic. If you guys haven't seen this movie, it really is good. It's so much better than the one they came out with, the remake. But
yes,
they were fighting, and at the end, at the beach, because they caught Brody, and then he gets up and they're handcuffed. He somehow got Keanu Reeves got the handcuff on him, and it's like, no, let me go. And they're huge, and Keanu Reeves just unhooks it and he goes, and obviously Brody going into that ginormous wave, he didn't make it through, but it was a really good movie. So, okay. So that was great. So we got 1 and 2 and which are critical. This is gold, guys and gals. So number 3
is you got to have a plan. Okay. If you don't have a plan, it's so easy to get distracted by all the marketing tactics that are being thrown at you, right? And then you end up being like a squirrel chasing a nut. So you've got to put a plan in place. When it comes to a plan, what I recommend is a 90-day marketing plan. So think about it like a 90-day sprint. And there's multiple reasons for this. One, our businesses are evolving. They're changing all the time, and our marketing needs to evolve with it. So if you think about, if you spent, whatever, let's say you spent $5-10 grand, hiring some marketing consultant to put together a 12-18 month marketing plan at the beginning of this year. They're too complicated. You hit March and you just burned it, or you put it in a desk drawer. We need to keep things simple. So think about marketing as a 90-day sprint. And what I use is a 6-step marketing plan. Okay. This could be 1 to 3 pages. Okay. So first step is your target market, right? So we're just including, some summaries, or if you've created ideal client profiles or buyer personas, you can certainly use those. But I want to make sure at a minimum, you have a general idea of who your ideal clients are. So if you don't know that right now, just create a summary of who those 1 to 3 people are. What are they all about? What do they want to accomplish? What's the main problem that they have? Okay. The second step is what's your marketing goal for the next 90 days? Okay. You may have a 1-year goal for your company or a 3-year goal. This 90-day goal is just the next goal that's going to help you get closer to that longer term goal. It needs to be specific. It needs to be measurable. So it could be, I want to bring on 5 new clients in the next 90 days. Okay. It's specific. It's measurable. That's good. The thing that we need to keep in mind with a goal like this is I call it an outcome-based goal. With outcome-based goals, there are a lot of things beyond your individual control that are going to impact whether you hit that or not. So what I like to tell people is you got to know where you're headed, but don't get so tied to it that it's crushing if you don't reach it. Because again, March hit this year. Well, maybe I did everything that I could have to reach my goal, but the pandemic hit and things beyond my control, prevented me from hitting it.
Yeah.
But you do need to have an idea of where you're going. So that's your second step. Your third step is what's your marketing budget and what resources do you have? And when I talk about resources, I mean people resources. So time that you or other people can invest to help execute your marketing. Without knowing this, you have no idea. You can put a plan together, but then you may not have the budget or the resources to do it. So we need to first identify what money we have and the time resources we have to execute our plan, because that's going to determine what we end up focusing on or how much we can end up focusing on. Your fourth step is, what's your current marketing plan? And I understand you may not have a current marketing plan that's even written down. That's okay. There's 8 main marketing channels that I look at in a plan. One is the strategy or the fundamentals that we just talked about. Do you understand your target market, and do you have messaging that's going to be clear and resonate with them? The next channel is your website. Then you've got content. You have SEO or search engine optimization. You have social media. You have email marketing, paid advertising. When I look at paid advertising, I'm talking about Google ads, Facebook ads, and then offline marketing. Are you doing speaking engagements or networking with referral partners, creating a strategic partner network, direct mail, that kind of stuff. So in this fourth step, all we're doing, just write down, have you done anything, or are you continuing to do anything in those channels? I know my target market. Cool. Got it. I've got good messaging. Cool. I'm just going to write that down in this current plan section. Do I have a website? Do I have a good clear call to action on it? Does it have good messaging? Yes. Okay, cool. Let's just put that stuff down. Do I have a Facebook page? Am I posting consistently on it? Some of these channels you may not have anything in. That's okay. But in this section where we're looking at our current marketing plan, what we're doing is we're identifying where we're currently at. You cannot create an effective plan until you know where you're currently at. It's just like your GPS. My GPS can't tell me how to get to the Denver airport until I tell it where I'm first starting from. So that's all we're doing in this current marketing plan section. The fifth section is, what are you going to focus on in those 8 channels in the next 90 days? That's your 90-day marketing plan. Now, depending on the money you have to invest and the resources you have, you may only focus on one channel, and that's okay. But at least you know exactly what you're going to focus on for the next 90 days, and you can just take the steps to do it, rather than get distracted next week when somebody says you need to be on TikTok.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, true. No, it's true. It's the shiny object syndrome.
Yeah,
because
it's very easy to fall prey to that. So then the 6th step is, what metrics am I going to track? Look, I was a math major, so I can get super analytical, get in the weeds on that. You need to keep this high level. So, I like to, at a bare minimum, right? You need to know how many leads you're generating, how many of those leads what's the percentage of those that convert to customers? Because when it really comes down to it, what's the most important thing to know with your marketing? Are you bringing in new customers? And what's the value of those new customers? Because then you can start to look at, am I getting a return on my investment? Then you can go a little bit deeper, right? So if I'm looking at, let's say I'm going to focus on my email marketing, I might look at, how many new subscribers do I have to my email list over the next 90 days? With my website, I might look at, I'm not really going to pay attention to traffic all that much. What I want to look at is, how many leads am I generating specifically from my website? Okay. Those things are going to help me determine, the metrics I track are going to help me determine whether the actions that I'm taking in my 90-day plan are starting to have an impact. Am I seeing results from those things? Because then at the end of the 90 days, I can look at this and go, okay, I did A, B, and C. I tracked these metrics. Did what I do in the past 90 days make an impact? If it did, great. Maybe I want to double down on that and continue to do more of it in the next 90 days. Or if it didn't, maybe I need to look at it and go, well, do I need to shift gears, or do I need to give this more time? But one way or the other, you're making knowledgeable decisions based on the information that you've been tracking and the actions you've been taking. And if you use this, just think about how much more progress you'll make in 90 days, 6 months, a year. I guarantee you'll be able to look back on it and go, man, we've made some serious progress here, rather than chase the next shiny object.
Well, and let's go to some of the channels that you talked about, website and SEO. I think this is one that's overlooked. It was overlooked by me, especially when I was doing the email marketing thing. And I really started to dive back into it. What, in your opinion, is the, as far as, because people overthink this, I think. You have to obviously have a strategy when you're writing content, or if you're having somebody else write content for you.
Yep.
But like, for instance, blogging. Do you have like a certain, like, this is what I do on Mondays, Tuesdays, or do you just blog whenever you get the gist for it, the feel for it?
No, so our content calendar is planned out about 3 months in advance. So right now we write a blog post each week. And then we also have a podcast episode that we do each week. So our stuff is planned out. Here's another reason why our content is planned out. One of the things that we love doing and we highly recommend our clients do is creating what we call, hub pages. People call them pillar pages. It's basically, it's a resource that your ideal clients are going to find valuable. It's a guide that helps them. It helps establish credibility. They're good for SEO. And when we create our content calendar, we create that based on the next hub page or pillar page that we want to create. So we have an end goal in mind. And what that allows us to do is put out good content. It directs what content we're going to create. But at the end of 6 months worth of content, we now have another asset. Whereas most people go, if they're just flying by the seat of their pants, it's like, well, this week I'm going to write this. And next week I'm going to write about that. Well, at the end of 6 months, they've created content, which is great. It's better than not doing anything. But at the end of 6 months, they don't have another asset that they can create. Whereas if you create your blog content around the end goal of creating a hub page, so for example, a hub page for us might be the guide to local marketing or, the ultimate guide to marketing strategy. Well, at the end of 6 months, I've now created the ultimate guide to marketing strategy. I can put it together on my website. And now I've got an awesome asset that I can use I could do paid ads to those if I really wanted to, but I could send that information to prospects that I'm nurturing. Some of our existing customers may find that valuable, but it helps establish authority and credibility for us. And when you're in a service business, most service businesses need to establish authority and credibility and trust. And content is one of the best ways to do that.
So I want to dive a little deeper into this because I'm intrigued. I've never heard of it called a hub page, but are you speaking about, like, for instance, more on staying on one topic and then making it a lead magnet, or are you talking about something completely different?
No, it's a little bit different than that. So, and if your audience wants to check out some hub pages, they can go to our website at rialtomarketing.com. So it's RIALTO marketing.com.
Okay.
And under the resources section, you'll see some ultimate guides. So we'll just break one of these down. Okay. So one of these is the ultimate guide to lead generation. When I click on that page, it's just a page on our website. It's not a blog post. It's a page on our website, and it's called the ultimate guide to lead generation. Okay, in that ultimate guide to lead generation, we have a video in there that talks a little bit about the hub page and, and why we created it and how they can benefit from using it. But then the rest of that page, think of it like a book. Okay, so it's the book. The title of the book is the ultimate guide to lead generation. And then there's a table of contents with chapters. The first chapter is about website design for lead generation. The next chapter is about reputation management. The next chapter is about search engine optimization. Then you've got using email marketing to generate leads, right? And there's more there, right? But you get the gist, right? There's a chapter underneath the title of the book. And then under each of those chapters, we have blog posts. Most of those blog posts are blog posts that are on our website. Some of them we're linking out to external resources on other people's website. but most of them are blog posts that are on our blog. So in website design for lead generation, there's about 5 or 6 blog posts. One's about how to boost lead generation on your small business's website. Another one's on the key ingredients to generate more leads from your website. So if I click on those blog posts, it opens up that blog post, okay? Now, here's the thing. What we're doing is we're tying these things together to help Google understand that, hey, this is important content and we're internally linking, okay? So the hub page links out to blog posts that are on our website, but every single one of those blog posts links back to the lead generation guide. So we're communicating to Google that, hey, man, there's a bunch of pages, there's a bunch of blog posts on this website that link back to this one page. That page must be pretty important. So from an SEO standpoint, we're sending signals to Google, right? It's good SEO practice, but we've also created this guide that is helpful for our ideal clients. Do you want to generate more leads? Yeah, go check out our guide to lead generation. Now, on that guide to lead generation, we have a lead magnet, right? There's some calls to action there, but it's a valuable resource. And I've always taken the approach that if I can add value to people, help them, and help answer some of the questions that they may have, help them push through some of the roadblocks that they have, when they're ready to work with a company like ours, hopefully they're going to think of ours. Right? How many marketing companies are like the cobbler that has no shoes, right? It doesn't mean they don't do great work. They may do awesome work, but they're doing awesome work for other people and they don't invest in their own marketing. I want people to be able to come to our site and go, damn, okay, these guys do what they preach, you know? They're creating content, they're using email marketing, all the things that they recommend I do, they're doing themselves, so they know how to do it.
Yeah, this is actually very brilliant. That's you guys. I hope they're taking. I hope you guys are taking notes. So, okay. Well, real quick, you did talk about paid advertising.
Yep.
If you were to pick your favorite, what would you say your favorite is, and what would you say is the most overrated one?
My favorite, especially for our ideal client types, is content. So whether that's blog posts, podcasts, videos. I love video content because you can repurpose it into all kinds of other content. Frankly, if you did one podcast, if you had to focus on any type of content, I would say create a podcast that you also do video, because then you can repurpose that content into blog post content, into audio content. You can create short form content that you promote on social media. You can have your entire content plan by shooting one video interview or one solo podcast episode that is video and audio. The thing about content is it is a long-term investment, right? So minimum 12 to 18 months. If you get into it and you're not willing to invest in it for that long, then don't do it. But if you do it and you do it right and you give it time, it will be the gift that keeps on giving and you will generate leads from it. So I love content. Overrated. I don't know if I'd say there's any in particularly overrated channels. I think they all work. They may work better than they may work better for some people than they do others. I guess if I had to absolutely pick one, I would probably say social media. But I'm going to preface that because social media is super effective, but I would say it's overrated because a lot of people just get confused about what to do on social media and how to generate leads from it. And so inevitably, they just post content and they feel like, oh my God, I'm posting stuff. It's not working.
Yeah, agreement. I agree with that. I've been, trust me. When I first started out, I was all over the place, and especially with somebody brand new. When I was in the car business, I was getting out, and I was all pumped. I was like, man, I know computers. I know how to do this, and I was a great salesperson. in the car business, and it like smacked me right in the face because I had so many things coming at me. And I love a few things. I love the whole entire interview so far, but I love the fact that keep it simple, but the plan of action, knowing your numbers, knowing, because, and you have to understand that growth it's going to happen no matter what, like content. It does take time. You can't expect, especially blogging is a long-term goal that you want to hit. But the cool thing is, let's say if you put all your eggs in paid advertising, okay, and what happens if you run out of paid advertising? That doesn't work. You put all your money towards that. You're not going to have any traffic because you turn off the hose if it's not working. With a blog, and this probably rubs a lot of people I know the wrong way, but I'm really starting to get the gist of it. It is because that's your domain, that's your area, so you have control of what you put on there.
Yep.
Unless like social media, they get shut down. Facebook could just turn you off in a heartbeat. It's crazy. You have to have a game plan, and you want to do everything by the book, but it's your home.
Yes.
And you can send people to your front door, and they can learn more about you. And I love going to websites, and I love reading blog content. Some people don't, but video, 100% agree with that. People love video, especially if it's engaging. And so you definitely want to, have video in your content creation. I love podcasting too. I love podcasting. I love meeting new people, and it's just a lot of fun. And, I tell people it's not expensive to do a podcast. It's not. It's actually very cheap to do a podcast. And the way that the stuff they have now, you can syndicate it to, iTunes, Stitcher. It's on Spotify. Yep. It's crazy. So, but then it's about consistency. I love the fact that you said, you have a content calendar, and you said it's 3 months out.
Yep.
It's brilliant. So guys, listen, seriously, you want to take notes, but also, you need to go to, here real quick. So make sure you guys go to winwithfred.com, check out the show notes, but I'm going to give you this right now because Tim has given, go to www.rialtomarketing.com, RIALTO marketing.com /Freddie-O-show. And he has, I believe there's 4 different resources that he gives you. Plus there's something else in there. I believe it's a, almost like a little mastermind type setup.
Yep. There's a master class in there on the fundamentals. And
a free strategy session if you wish to have that. So I highly, highly recommend that because, when you talk to somebody, that they know what they're talking about. So there are certain things that I've learned today that I'm going to implement into my marketing. And I think it's a fantastic idea, especially the calendar, because that is one thing that I do. I'm admitting this. Please don't judge me. I basically sometimes when I do a blog post, it's that day of, I have to feel like, cause I'm going to make sure that I am, I want to write what I'm confident about, obviously, but sometimes you just got to plan it out, and it makes things so much easier because you can do the research or have your, someone else do the research for you, which I love doing that. And it just makes things so much easier. So brilliant, I say. So on the Freddie O Show, Tim, we have a super hyper fast Q&A round. Oh, and real quick, before I start the super hyper fast Q&A round, which it's sort of off the wall question, so hopefully you're prepared.
Okay.
And I think the answer to the number one might be Gary Busey. Probably not. But go to the show notes. You can see all of Tim's social media, how you can get a hold of him, his phone number, everything that he has to offer is going to be on the show notes. And of course, go to rialtomarketing.com. And you said you have a podcast too, right?
Yep. Yeah. They can see our podcast stuff on the website as well.
Sweet. So yeah, definitely go to the show notes and hopefully you took notes. And if you haven't, listen to this again because it's fantastic. So super hyper fast Q&A round. You ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. If you were able to be in an action movie and it were a buddy action movie, what actor would be your sidekick?
Tom Cruise.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude is a beast. I don't know seriously, because they were filming, I think it was the last Mission Impossible. He broke his ankle because he does a lot of his own stunts.
Yeah.
And he literally, they said he broke his ankle. I don't know how he was able to still walk and run on it but he was limping. It's crazy. Those are great movies.
How can you not want to be in a movie with Maverick? I mean, come on.
I would think more Stallone. Not right now. Not right now. He's a little bit old, but he's always been my favorite, especially in Rocky. But that's not an action movie. Okay, so favorite dessert you indulge in that you don't like to tell anybody about? Or just favorite dessert you indulge in? Ice cream.
And any ice cream with peanut butter in it.
Oh my gosh, dude, that is the same with me. I will be at a friend's house and they say at a birthday party, they're like, hey, we have ice cream. It's vanilla ice cream. I'm like, can I get some peanut butter to swirl in there? It's fantastic. I love peanut butter in my ice cream. I'm a peanut butter fanatic. Fantastic.
So am I.
Epic feast is held in your honor. What is on the table?
It's Thanksgiving dinner.
Really?
Yeah.
So you like turkey?
Yeah.
Does it make you tired?
Not usually.
Makes me tired. I'm always snapping at Thanksgiving dinner, but I do like turkey. I love steak. So turkey, you like stuffing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Stuffing, gravy, mashed potatoes. Yeah, all of it.
That's fantastic. And pumpkin pie?
Pumpkin pie, yeah. I'm a traditionalist, so I've got to have pumpkin pie at Thanksgiving.
Have you ever had sweet potato pie?
I have not.
It's actually quite delicious.
That doesn't surprise me because I've had some. There's another sweet potato recipe that has like nutmeg and cinnamon, and then there's like marshmallows on top. Have you ever had that?
Oh, it sounds great.
Oh God, it's really good. It's more like dessert.
That is at Thanksgiving dinner.
Yes.
In a lot of cases.
Yes.
So fantastic. Okay, and what's your favorite holiday?
Thanksgiving.
Really? Okay. Yeah. What's your favorite holiday movie?
A Christmas Story.
Oh my gosh, that's a great one too. Mine is Elf. My wife loves A Christmas Story. We watch it every year. So yes, that is awesome. So final thought. One last shout out to the Freddie O Show fam that you feel can have an impact on them, especially like just be words of encouragement, whatever you can think of right now. One last final thought.
Just take the next measurable step that you need to take to get to your goal. So it's easy to get overwhelmed when you look at a 1 year or 5 year goal. Just look at what's the next measurable step I can take today to get me one step closer.
Awesome. Tim, thank you so much for being on the Freddie O Show. Guys, make sure you visit the show notes. Go to rialtomarketing.com, RIALTO marketing.com /Freddie-O-show to get everything that Tim has to offer. Tim, you're a rock star. Thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you.